Hi, it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec, and this week I'm joining the Punched Out Thursday gang. We share ideas every Thursday on what to do with your punches. I'm going to put links to Ronnie's, Kathy's, and Krista's channels below, so be sure to check them out. And today I'm going to be embellishing my layout with homemade chipboard made from my punches, and I'm also going to be embellishing my page with the negatives created by my punches. This is what I'll be using, and I have paper from Paige Evans' Pink Paisley Truly Grateful collection, and I have 3 different punches. Now you don't need these exact punches to do this project, and I'll talk a bit more about that later on. I did do some preparation in advance, so I prepared a frame style foundation with 3 sheets of paper, and I gutted 2 of them, and then I double matted my photos with the paper that I gutted from behind the foundation page. Now this is a paper from that Truly Grateful collection with those 2-inch squares. So I cut it up into 6 strips, and I also showed you some specialty paper that I might be using, as well as 3 punches. Now 2 of them measure in and around 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inches, and the other one is smaller. I also have that tray of other random stuff that I always have on my desk. And now what I'm going to do is take 3 of these 2-inch by 12-inch strips, and I'm just snipping off 1 block. So they each measure 10 inches long now, and I am putting measurements for all of this on the screen. And what I'm going to do with these 3 strips of paper is basically kind of create an L-form design, a little bit loose. This page, nothing's going to be straight on it, so it's going to come together really, really quickly. So I'm going to place my photos kind of in that space that's created by the L. And before adhering this, what I'm going to do is punch out some pieces. So I'm starting with the horizontal piece, and I'm punching out with butterflies. And when you select your punches for this project, what's really important that of the 2 larger punches, one of them, orientation, shouldn't be important. And what I mean by that is, if you look at this circle, it doesn't matter what side I'm punching on, the circle is always going to be a circle. That could be a square, it could be a flower, because if I were to use my butterfly punch on that vertical piece, the butterflies would have been sideways. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking for a piece of specialty paper or some paper to back those strips. Basically what I'm going to do is use the negative space that's created from these punched out pieces. As you can see, I have reserved the punched out pieces, and I will use those later on. Anyway, I liked some of those, especially that white sparkly one, but I end up going with the safer bet, which is just this plain black cardstock. So I'm cutting myself down 2 strips, again 2 inches by 10 inches, and what I'm going to do is back these punched out strips of paper. So as you can see, the black part just kind of pops through. I'm only doing it on 2 of the 3 strips because you're going to notice when I place them on the page, one of them is kind of covered up by the photo, so it doesn't really matter. So there I go, placing it down, and then I place my photos, and I adhere all of this to the page, and later on I'm going to place my journaling as well as my title in the top right hand corner. And once I get all of this down, I decide that I want to add a little bit of ink just as a base to where that journaling and title will later go. So luckily I easily lifted off those photos, and I'm taking one of those Picket Fence Studio blending brushes and just adding some ink from Stampin' Up, and I think it's called Blueberry Bushel. So I'm putting that there, and I'm happy with that. And now what I'm going to do is continue working on this border. So here's where I'm going to make some chipboard. So basically I'm taking these punched out images, and to each one of them I'm simply going to add a few layers of cardstock. So what you're going to see me do here is punch out 3 circles, and I'm going to adhere them all together right underneath that circle. And that makes kind of a dimensional decoration. So I will later adhere it on that strip, but now I'm going to do it to 2 of the butterflies. I start doing it and then I will turn off the camera and continue because I'm just kind of repeating the same thing. But the idea is you take a punched out image and you just back it in a few layers of cardstock. I'm doing it in 3, and that is a question of taste. So as you can see, I have 2 butterflies done and 1 circle. So I'm adhering those within that border, and it just gives a bit of visual interest. There's a little bit of height to it. Now what I'm going to do is work on that top right hand corner. So I'm going to create 2 tags, and that's just a Project Life grid style card. I cut it in half so it's 2 inches wide, and I'm using this delightful tag topper tag punch from Stampin' Up! It's one I use all the time. And now what I'm doing is making reinforcers for the tag. So all I used there was a hole punch and then a 1/2 inch circle punch. And now I'm adhering that ring around the whole of the tag, and it just adds a little finishing touch to the tag. I know it's going to go up there in that corner, but I want to play around with my title. Now those titles are from the Truly Grateful collection. And I want my title to be Make Your Own Magic. So all I did was I literally cut it off that transparent sheet, and that way I could play around with placement. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to adhere my tags, and then I'll really speed up the film because it's just boring. All I'm going to do is adhere that title down, but I haven't quite finished my page yet, so if you abandon me right now, you won't see what I do at the very end. Anyway, I'm almost done. We're almost at the end here. So I adhere all of this down, and once I adhere this down, obviously, a bit later on, I am going to add some twine to those tags, but what I am going to do is make a few more chipboard decorations, but this time it's going to be with a small butterfly. So, but this time I'm not putting 3 pieces of cardstock under each one. I'm putting them at different levels because I want them to have different heights, and all I'm doing is adding 3 of them, and I punched it out from the paper that was left over, and so I'm just using yellow, pink, and blue, and I put that within the title and journaling area, and that's it. After that, all I do is add my journaling. So this was a really quick page. I talked about using negative space of punches. I talked about creating chipboard or dimensional decorations with punched out shapes. And also, don't forget, with this project, it's not the actual punch that counts. You can use whatever punch you want. What I do recommend is that they measure between 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inches, and also a smaller one like I have in those small butterflies. Also, keep in mind that when you're working in the vertical as well as horizontal, you need to make sure that one of these punches, the orientation isn't important. And what I mean by that is, for example, where I punched out the circle, it didn't matter from what angle I punched. It's gonna look straight, or it's not gonna look weird. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out the other ladies who are participating in this collaboration. Their links are below. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and have a great day.